Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. I wanted to start off with, it seems like this season is a bit about redemption and some peace for some of the characters while all the chaos is going on. And I want to know if that was, obviously, yes, it's adapted from a book, but if that was a choice between both of you leading into what will end up being the final season.
I think that, I don't know if we focused specifically on redemption. I know we focused on chaos because of the way we left 7A is, when you leave, I'm sure the fans and the audience knew that something was coming with the way we deliberately wanted to give that moment of Scotland again, and it felt like a homecoming, and then we wanted to turn the tables in 7B and kind of mix it up a little bit, and you bring back old characters and old grudges and definitely old grudges with Leary and Jamie. And I think Jamie wants to, not even down deep on the surface and down deep, Jamie's a good guy, and I think that's always weighed on him. So to take care of, even though it's his very, very extended family, I think he wanted to know that was taken care of so he can move forward with Claire and, and the Ridge and everything, and going forward. So
now that you guys are kind of done in terms of the filming process, what's been the most difficult or rewarding season that you guys have filmed? Because it's just so much goes on every season. I'm sure you have problems every season, great moments every season. So is there one that sticks out in particular? And then what are you really excited about for fans to see for the second half of season 7? And then obviously, ultimately season 8, which, we all want to know, how's it going to end? So,
I mean, I think we always go in every season thinking it's going to be the easiest and it ends up being the hardest. But I will say one season that was difficult was season 3, where we filmed it in 2 different countries. Like, we moved the show to South Africa, which was logistically difficult but a great experience. And then obviously season 6 with COVID and Katrina's pregnancy was obviously difficult in terms of stopping before we thought, and COVID added, threw a wrench into the mix. So I would say those were my 2.
I would agree. They were definitely the most challenging. I think season 3 overall, with, spanning 20 years and then spanning 2 continents, that really was challenging to bring those all together. But the reunion, I think, when we crossed the beams at the reunion, it really brought it home. So it felt like a really challenging but a rewarding season overall for me personally. And I can't wait for the fans to see the second half of 7. I think they're anticipating a lot, and they're probably dreading a lot. And I think that's exactly what we want. We want fans to anticipate and dread and hope and wish. And I think for the end, we have a lot of post-production to do right now. And do I want the fans to see the end? Yes and no at the same time, because, we don't ever want it to end. And I know they don't either.
So I want to ask you guys, so Richard, for you, Roger is in a different time period. He has to travel back, right? Because he's looking for Jemmy and he's in a different time period. So what was it like for you to now process that you're back in time, but now you're in a different time? And then you leave poor Sophie, her by herself, to fend on her own.
You can lock the door, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a disaster. It starts looking like it's going to be a bit of a disaster. We don't really know what's going on. In fairness to Roger, he doesn't think he's leaving his beautiful wife in peril with some maniac kidnapper. Not something that I think comes to either of them. They seem pretty certain. I mean, actually, they're fooled pretty easily, I think, by Rob Cameron initially, the whole scarf thing with the stones, I think. Yeah. I think maybe had they thought about that a little bit. But anyway, they commit to it and they go into parental mode and they go into, they go into gear trying to find Jemmy, and it seems like a good idea to follow Rob back to a time that he hasn't gone to. So, we start off in an interesting place. But with that, I promise you, comes a lot of good fun for both of them. I think the tandem storyline of Roger and Bree through the second half of season 7 is very exciting. I think the fans are going to love it.
And Sophie, for you, how was it with Brianna having to stay back for once? Because she's such a strong kind of independent, fully sufficient woman. So to have to stay back and hold that and deal with, what's to come for her. What was that like for you?
I think it's a parallel that Brianna and I have as people. I think she's had to kind of fend for herself most of her life. And so with that comes pros and cons. And one of them is sitting back and trusting other people to get stuff done. And I think this is maybe one of the first times in her life where she really has somebody whom she truly believes she can rely on. And so she knows that whatever Roger's doing, he will do everything to find their son. And that definitely makes it easier. And I think had she not had Mandy at home, she'd be feeling a lot more she'd be struggling a lot more with that decision, but she has another child to take care of at home. And so her mama bear sort of needs a split. And so there's a smidge of patience, but she's also just needs to protect the child that she still has with her. And she trusts that Roger's going to go get the other one.
So I'm going to ask a two-parter question. One, was it hard for you guys to sort of separate? Because we haven't seen you separate in a long time. So I just wanted to ask, like on a filming level as an actor, like when you're reading everything, was that difficult to do? And then my second question is kind of a fun one, which is music. I always ask you guys about music because Richard has told me how much he was tortured by Taylor Swift being constantly played through your trailer. So I always bring this up every interview. So I want to know, is this still happening?
Okay, Monica, you need to just Google Richard Rankin Taylor Swift concert because I have finally corrupted him.
I saw he was there.
I did it. 10 years. My work is done.
Bracelets and all. I saw bracelets and all.
Oh yeah, somehow, I don't know how it happened, I became massive Swiftie. And I really big way.
It only took a season of being apart from me for you to find him by yourself.
Yeah, I find out by myself and go, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I get it, I understand now.
The opposite of exposure therapy.
You can't just sort of deny it. You have to try everything at least once before you start to cry. And I thought, I'll give it a go. And I put her on running at first, and I thought, this is okay to run to. Right? And I thought, this is actually, there's a lot of good tracks here to run to. There's good tempo. And I thought, it's fucking great.
Oh, and then I have to tell you, Monica, because the next thing you know, it's filming the first episode of season 8, and they're about to yell action, and we walk into the scene, and Richard just turns to me and he goes, no one wanted to play with me as a little kid. And I was like, is that a Taylor Swift lyric? And he went, yes. And then just walked into the scene, and I was like,
I am shook right now. I'm shook.
So proud of you. Yeah. Anyway. So there you go.
Oh my gosh. So you guys being separated is what caused ultimately his love of Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just got it the wrong way, but I've learnt my lesson. But
yeah, she was trying to force feed me when all she had to do was leave
it out.
There. Yeah. And I will eat it.
You're like a child. I'm like, don't touch the candy. And then you'll touch the candy.
I wanted to talk to you about basically your journey, because Ian's journey, young Ian, has been so drastic and just has slowly become not only a man, but a sensitive man and a beautiful man. And like just someone that I feel like I want as my best friend, like just like the most amazing human being ever. So for you, what has this journey been like to go from like when you first came on to now how far he has come in this season?
I mean, this show is literally my quarter life. It's my, it's my young adulthood. And so I've developed alongside young Ian. And I'm constantly inspired by the people that I work with, just as young Ian is inspired by the characters that they play. You spoke a little bit about how Ian has become this sensitive, strong, brave, loyal person. And that's because of the men and women that are in his family. And I think my confidence in who I am has always been supported by my castmates. So the person that is now speaking to you today is a product of all of that and some amazing relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing to watch, and I just want to congratulate you on it. And watching the first 2 episodes kind of coming back and to see like young Ian loves love and just wants to have somebody and just wants to do all the right things, but still sacrifices, which is a very Jamie thing, right? Because that's who he's kind of, been with and kind of a second father figure for him. But then to go back to his dad and his dad's, passing and to be willing to sacrifice and leave. How was that for you as an actor to kind of read that in the script and then portray it? Because you were so sensitive. It wasn't like too much. It wasn't not enough. It was just beautifully on that line of like, I want to make him happy and I want to know him. I'm there for him, but I'm going to follow his wishes.
Yeah, I mean, like the joy of those kinds of scenes are the layers within them, right? We have a character that is being pulled in 2 very different directions. He doesn't want to leave home. He doesn't want to leave his father's side. But here he is, his father, telling him, you need to chase what you want and chase your dreams. I think he comes at a really beautiful time for Ian, and something that I thought was really special was this kind of notion of you are not defined by your past. You're defined by what you do now and the choices you make now. And his family give him that that kind of support that I think he was needing. Of course, he gets that from his aunt and uncle in buckets, but there's nobody like your mum and dad. So to kind of get to revisit them like that, it came at a very opportune time. And those scenes were a joy to play, not only because I get to work with Stephen Cree, who is hilarious, but also a very talented actor, Kristen Atherton, who we had immediate chemistry with as our new Jenny. And then again, stepping back into Lallybroch, like it all came together beautifully. And we have an amazing director of that block who really kind of fine-tuned and brought the subtlety and the nuance of the performances in tow with all of us.
So I'm just going to ask like a two-part question really quickly. The first part is fun. You love fashion. I love your fashion. I love everything about you. So I want to ask you like what your fashion choices were today, and and what your like maybe like favorite outfit or favorite thing that you like have worn so far, because I just love everything and I can't choose one.
Okay.
And then the second part is, what are you like most excited about for fans to see for the second half and then leading into ultimately the final season of the show, because I'm so upset. So what are you kind of hoping for?
I'm really into like my neutrals with my fashion at the moment.
I like it.
Tones. And so this jumper, which is a gorgeous jumper, was actually a gift Katrina Balfe gave me for our birthday last year.
Aww.
That's fashion big sis right there. We have a lot of discussions about style, fashion. We sit in each other, outfits. Katrina's always sending me stuff that's like, I think you would look really good in this, or have you seen this kind of style that's coming up? So I'm very inspired by her. And then my favorite thing I'm wearing at the moment is I'm really like rocking the kilt quite a lot, to be honest.
I love it. I think it's a moment, it's a statement, and you change it up too, which I love.
It up. I'm kind of into this kind of like kilt meets like motorcyclist, meets like cowboy, or meets like, do you know what I mean? Like leather. Like I kind of like creating like a fusion between my culture and then like a kind of a style or an
like a sexy Scotsman.
Yeah, or a cowboy Scotsman. What'll be next? Maybe an astronaut Scotsman, who knows? But yeah, and then to answer the second part of your question, I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is Ian and Rachel. I think the fans are going to really, really love these characters and really root for them. Their journey is not going to be simple. It's actually going to be quite complicated. They've got a lot of obstacles to overcome because of just how different their experiences have been in life, and where they're going to find their common ground is going to be really, really fascinating to watch as an audience member, and to be a part of the love story that is Outlander. Jamie and Claire are obviously up here, but to be our own little story within this story is great, because I love love. What can I say?
You're back! Yay! I'm so happy.
Finally.
So I wanted to ask you, I know everyone's going to be like, what was it like coming back? Instead of that, try to change it up a little. I wanted to know what it was like coming back, having to play a character that might not or might know what happens down the line, because she's, so much younger. So how do you do that as an actor? Like, how do you process that and go, I got to forget, or like, maybe I know little things, but.
That's a very good question. That takes it just one step further, doesn't it? I think with meeting our son who's there, I do get an inkling of like, hey, there's something, wait, what? There's a witchy, like a spider sense that sort of, goes off. But when she meets Dougal, it's just, I think she's just impressed. She sees him and she's just, she just goes with it in the moment. And I don't think there's really an agenda. I don't think she's all that aware of future, whatever might happen. I think she really just is in the moment and she just goes with it. She's impressed by him. And and we all know what comes out of that. But that's obviously something the audience know, but they don't know in that moment. So that's what I've aimed for, at least.
And was it fun too, like on the behind the scenes level, when you're reading the script, was it fun for you? Because I was laughing hearing Roger or like Richard Rankin doing the off camera like voiceover. So was that fun for you to read it? Because he's like kind of like talking about who you are as a character or who you become. And then we see you kind of go off with Dougal together, and like his voiceover was so funny. So I wanted to know for you, when you were reading the script, if you were like, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Like I have to take this out of my mind, but it's going to be so funny when it airs.
You know what? I don't actually, because we shot this 2 years ago and I don't actually remember if the voiceover was in the script. It must have been, but I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah. I don't know if that was in the draft that I read at the time, but I thought it was a really fun little addition.
So I'm going to ask a 2-part question really quickly. So one, what was it like kind of reuniting with Graham and you guys, like I said, being the younger versions and being able to just have fun with it and kind of create something new? And what are you most excited about for people to see? Because we are seeing essentially, in a way, new characters.
Yeah, you're right. We are seeing new characters. Yeah, and that's definitely how it should look to an audience. But of course, they're going to project the future, stuff on the scene. It was really exciting to come back because of course, we've kept in touch throughout the years and we've seen each other here and there, but we've often speculated about how they would have met. And these characters have never shared a scene, believe it or not. They've never been in a frame together. So that's kind of wild. I mean, for as long as the show's been around, it took them, 10 years of having us meet. But, we kept the best for last. So.
And what are you most excited about for fans to see?
Gosh, there's just so much. There's so much in this season. Well, I guess, I feel like with older characters coming back, but still having the more recent ones, it might feel like it's like everything is coming together. And of course, we're going towards the end of the show, unfortunately, so maybe there's that sort of like tying everything together feeling. Yeah. So I hope the fans are going to enjoy that.
So I wanted to know, this season for the second half and then really heavily going into 8, which I know like we can't talk too much about, but there's so much happening for William. And so for you as an actor, I know in the past you've mentioned you felt a little overwhelmed when you first got the job, which I would have been like having panic attacks. But at this point, you said that you feel a little more comfortable. Where are you now with this journey that's going to be so much of an arc between now and the end?
You know what? Maybe it was a good thing that it was a bit overwhelming in the beginning because I think William is super overwhelmed as well. I don't even have to do any acting, I've been saying it's hilarious. I think William is like the most confused character in Outlander. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what time travel is. There's like all of these things happening around him that just don't make any sense out of context. And William is the one person that doesn't have any of the context.
He's like the poor guy. Now that you said that, that's like left out. Like I just realized like you're like, like there's one person in a group that doesn't know. Like you're like the one person that doesn't know.
I am. And everyone's looking at me and I'm like, why is everyone looking at me? And they all know the secret that I don't know. And more than one secret. Like, oh my gosh. I think going into season 7B, it was such a daunting task as an actor. And it was overwhelming for William as well, though, these scenes. So hopefully that informed it a little bit. Hopefully my real life emotions were, could mirror William's emotions. Art imitates life. That's what they say, right? But I was surrounded by some of the most amazing actors that I've ever met. And I think just being in scenes with them and seeing the choices that they make and the interesting acting choices they make, it informs your own choices and it kind of elevates your game in that sense. So I was very, very lucky to be on the show with some fantastic people.
I'm so excited for people to see what you do because you have a love triangle coming up. You have war still going on. He has an internal battle. So I feel like he's going through so much and you do such a great job not playing it too hard and not playing it too soft. Like it's like perfectly in the middle and it's just such a fantastic thing to watch. So I just want to congratulate you on it. So I'm going to do a 2-part question. So I'm sure you're getting the same stuff all day long. So I want to do one fun question. So the first half, he's like, oh no, what is she going to ask me? I love because I know like we follow each other on social and I think we follow each other on Instagram, but I love your musical stuff that you post. So I want to ask if there was going to be any more of that coming down the pike because you have such a beautiful voice, the guitar, like all the stuff that you do. So I wanted to know if that's ever a possibility. And if it's not, I'm pushing for it. And then the second half of my question is just what I guess is the most challenging for you as an actor for this season that you're looking forward for the payoff of fans to see.
I want to play more music. And now that I'm home, we just finished filming. I have all this free time on my hands now. So I've been finding myself going back to the piano, going back to the guitar. So yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be some stuff, hopefully. I'm doing lots of practicing. I didn't have a piano when I was in Scotland, so I'm not very well practiced at the moment. So I got to get back to it and get my hours in before I share anything with anyone else. But it'll happen. It'll definitely happen.
Okay, good.
I bought an electric guitar in Scotland, and it's my first. I'm usually like a classical guitar player, so I'm just getting into electric now, which I think is it's been very exciting for me. It's kind of it's new territory. So maybe you'll see some of that. Probably not for like a year because I got to do some practice. But yeah, and I mean, in terms of like the biggest thing for this season, I mean, I'm just really excited for those scenes where William finds out who his parents are, because that's kind of what we've been building to since his birth, like that's been a secret since he was introduced in the show in like season 4 or something like that, when I was still like a wee lad. So I think those scenes, they were so great to film, and there's so much substance in them. So I'm very excited for people to see that.
Thank you for listening to Silence on Set podcast. My name is Monica Gleberman. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more interviews to come.